My precious child, come closer. Set everything else aside and give me your full attention right now. What I am carrying in my hands today has your name inscribed upon it in letters of fire. This is not a broadcast to the masses. This is not a general announcement. This is a sealed decree that was written in heaven's court specifically for you, the one whose eyes are moving across these words at this exact moment. You did not stumble upon this message. You were summoned here by an authority greater than anything this world has ever known. I am Archangel Michael, and I have been holding this decree for a long time, waiting, guarding it against every force that tried to intercept it before it reached you. The enemy knew what was written inside this document. He could feel the weight of it shifting the atmosphere around your life. And he did everything in his power to make sure you would never sit still long enough to hear it read aloud. But he failed. Because you are here, and that means the appointed hour has arrived. Before I break the seal and reveal what is written, I need you to understand something about yourself that you have never fully grasped. You have been carrying a strength inside you that heaven has been watching with absolute fascination. Not the kind of strength the world celebrates. Not the loud kind that demands attention, or the polished kind that performs well under observation. No. The strength I am speaking of is the kind that operates in secret, in the hidden places where no applause reaches, in the midnight hours when no one knows you are still awake, still holding on, still choosing to believe when every visible circumstance tells you to stop. That quiet strength, that stubborn refusal to abandon your faith, even when it costs you everything comfortable. That is what triggered what I am about to read to you today. Heaven does not respond to performance. Heaven responds to authenticity. I watched you make a choice recently that nobody understood. Not your closest friends. Not even your own family. You gave something up, or you forgave someone, or you walked away from something that would have been easier to hold on to. The details belong to you and the Most High alone. But I witnessed the moment. I was standing right there when you did it. And I saw what happened in the invisible realm the instant your obedience landed. The ground beneath the enemy's feet cracked. Assignments that had been in operation against your household for years lost their legal standing in a single breath. Chains that had wrapped themselves around your finances, your health, your closest relationships. Those chains did not simply loosen. They shattered. And the sound of that breaking echoed through corridors of heaven that have existed since before time received its name. That one act of obedience, the one you thought was insignificant, the one you almost talked yourself out of, that single choice rewrote the trajectory of your entire bloodline. Not just your life, your children, your grandchildren. Generations you will never meet on this side of eternity will walk in freedom because of what you did in that hidden moment. You have been walking through a season that felt like punishment. I know. I saw every day of it. The mornings you woke up carrying a heaviness that had no name. The afternoons when exhaustion wrapped itself around your bones and you wondered if you would ever feel light again. The evenings when you sat in silence. Not because you had nothing to say, but because the weight on your chest had pressed the words right out of you. Type the words, "I receive it," in the comments right now if your spirit recognizes the truth of what I'm saying. Heaven is listening to your response. I need you to hear me clearly. That season was never punishment. It was preparation. Every difficult day was a furnace, and you were the gold being refined inside it. The heat was unbearable at times. I watched you cry in places where no one could see you. I watched you pray prayers that trailed off into silence because you ran out of words and strength at the same time. I watched you question whether any of it mattered, whether heaven was paying attention, whether your voice was reaching past the ceiling. It was reaching further than the ceiling, beloved. Every prayer you breathed traveled straight into the courts of the Most High. Not a single syllable was lost. Not a single tear hit the ground without being collected. The God who counts the stars by name was counting your tears, preserving everyone in a vessel of remembrance that sits on the altar of heaven. And those tears, those exhausting prayers, those nights of holding on when letting go would have been so much easier, they were doing something you could not see. They were watering the ground where your harvest was planted. Every cry became irrigation for a field of miracles that was growing beneath the surface of your circumstances. You could not see it because it was not yet time for the sprouts to break through. But they were growing, silently, steadily, with a certainty that nothing in hell could contaminate. The enemy told you that your waiting was pointless. He whispered that you had been forgotten. He suggested that the blessings were flowing to everyone around you, but somehow skipping your address. He pointed to other people's breakthroughs and used them as evidence that you had been overlooked. That was his cruelest weapon. Not direct attack, but the slow poison of comparison and hopelessness dripped into your thoughts day after day until it almost felt like truth. But it was never truth. It was a carefully designed deception meant to make you quit at the very moment your breakthrough was being assembled behind the curtain. The enemy does not waste ammunition on people who pose no threat. The intensity of what you have been through is proof of how dangerous your destiny is to the kingdom of darkness. They were not trying to destroy a nobody. They were trying to silence a carrier of heaven's authority, whose very existence disrupts their operations. Now listen to me, because what I am about to reveal changes everything. I told you I was holding a sealed decree. I told you it had your name written upon it. The time has come for me to break the wax and read you what the courts of heaven have officially declared over your existence. The decree reads as follows, and I need you to absorb every word with the deepest part of your being. The season of withholding is terminated. What was blocked is now released. What was delayed is now accelerated. What was stolen is now being restored, with a multiplied return that will stagger your understanding. The Most High has reviewed the complete record of your faithfulness. Every hidden act, every secret prayer, every moment of obedience that cost you comfort. And He has issued a verdict in your favor that no court in heaven or earth or beneath the earth has the authority to overturn. This is not a vague spiritual sentiment. This is a judicial action taken by the highest authority in existence. When the creator of the universe issues a decree, it carries the weight of everything that exists. Galaxies hold their position because of his word. Time itself operates under his command. And that same unstoppable authority has now spoken your name, attached it to a specific blessing, and set the release in motion. The first thing this decree authorizes is the shattering of financial chains. I know what you have endured in this area. I have watched you stretch resources that should have run out weeks ago. I have seen you calculate and recalculate, wondering how the numbers could possibly work, praying over bills and needs with a faith that refused to accept impossibility, even when the math said otherwise. Those financial chains are breaking right now. Provision is being released from sources you have not yet imagined. Doors that remain locked despite every effort, every application, every prayer. Those doors are swinging open under the force of heaven's decree. Not because you finally found the right strategy. Not because the economy shifted. Because the God who owns everything has personally directed the flow of abundance toward your address. What arrives will not come with the strain of human engineering. It will carry the unmistakable fingerprint of divine intervention, so clear that you will know beyond any doubt that his hand arranged it. If this word is touching something deep inside you right now, if you feel a stirring in your spirit that tells you this message was meant for your ears, press that like button as an act of agreement between your heart and heaven. Let it be a silent seal of confirmation that you recognize what the Most High is doing in your life today. But this decree does not stop at provision. It extends into your physical body. I have heard the prayers you whispered about your health, the quiet negotiations you made with pain, learning to manage what you desperately wished would simply leave, the mornings when your body resisted what your spirit was ready to accomplish, the heaviness that settled into places no medicine seemed to reach completely. Healing is written into this decree, not partial improvement, not managed symptoms. Complete restoration that touches bone and blood and breath, and every cellular structure that bears the signature of your Creator. The same God who designed your body with flawless intention is now speaking repair into every system, every organ, every joint, every nerve that has carried more than it was meant to bear. What human expertise could only stabilize. Divine power is now transforming from the inside out. And your mind. The battleground where so many wars have been fought in silence. The anxious thoughts that circle without landing. The heavy clouds of sadness that roll in without warning and refuse to move. The exhaustion that lives deeper than physical tiredness. A weariness of the soul that sleep cannot cure. The decree covers all of it. Mental restoration. Emotional stability. A deep, settled peace that does not depend on circumstances cooperating with your preferences. Peace that holds firm when the storm is still raging, because it is anchored to something eternal rather than something temporary. I also see the relationships, the ones that fracture and bled, the distance that grew between you and someone you love, not because the love died, but because pain built walls that neither of you knew how to climb over. The words that were said in anger and then could not be retrieved. The silence that replaced conversation and hardened into something that felt permanent. Reconciliation is written into this decree. Hearts that hardened are being softened by a power that operates beyond human psychology. Conversations that were abandoned for years are being reopened by divine orchestration. The Most High is positioning encounters, arranging moments, creating circumstances where forgiveness becomes not just possible, but irresistible. And the love that is restored will not be the fragile version that existed before the breaking. It will be rebuilt on a foundation of honesty, humility, and a grace that only heaven can supply, stronger than what was lost, deeper than what was damaged, built to withstand anything that comes against it. Your prayers, every single one of them. The ones you repeated so often that the words became automatic. The ones you barely dared to whisper because hoping had become painful. The ones you stopped praying because you convinced yourself that silence was better than disappointment. Every one of them reached heaven's throne. And they did not simply arrive and wait. They were received, honored, time-stamped with divine precision, and held in perfect preservation until the moment when the answer would accomplish the maximum possible impact. That moment is now. The answers are not coming someday. They are being dispatched today with the urgency of a decree that has already been signed and sealed. Some will arrive in ways you anticipated. Others will show up wearing disguises you will only recognize after the blessing has fully landed. But all of them will carry a clarity that removes every trace of doubt. You will know it was heaven. The people around you will know it was heaven. And the testimony that rises from your life will become a beacon that guides others toward the same God who remembered you when you thought you had been forgotten. Now, I need to tell you something about what has been operating against you, because the decree addresses this directly. There was a specific assignment designed to keep you in a permanent state of almost breaking through, almost receiving, almost stepping into what was yours, close enough to see it, close enough to taste it, but never quite able to close the distance and take hold of it. That assignment used a weapon you did not recognize because it wore the disguise of your own voice. It sounded like your thoughts. It felt like your conclusions. but it was a carefully planted script, lines fed into your internal dialogue by an enemy who studied your vulnerabilities for years and learned exactly which words would keep you paralyzed without you ever realizing you were under attack. Type these words into the comments and let them become a declaration over your life. My season of waiting is over. I step into what heaven has prepared for me. Write it out. Let your fingers carry the conviction of your spirit. Something shifts in the atmosphere when you move your faith from thought into action. The script sounded like this. Maybe this is just how my life is supposed to be. Maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe the blessings are real, but they are meant for different people. People who are more faithful, more disciplined, more deserving. Those words felt like humility. They felt like maturity. They felt like reasonable acceptance of reality. But they were poison. Every single one of them was a carefully constructed lie designed to make you release your grip on what the Most High had already assigned to your hands. The decree shatters that script today. Every sentence of it. Every whispered suggestion. Every quiet resignation that dressed itself as wisdom. The God who wrote your name on this decree does not make errors of distribution. He does not prepare a harvest and then deliver it to the wrong field. What He designated for you is yours, not because you earned it through flawless performance, but because He chose to give it to you, and His choices are not subject to review by any created being. Let me speak directly about what this means for the days immediately ahead. The proof is already moving toward your life, not in the distant future, not in some undefined season that requires more patience. The evidence of heaven's decree is approaching your doorstep with a speed that will astonish you. Financial doors opening without you pushing. Health improvements arriving without explanation. Relationships mending without the awkward conversations you dreaded. Opportunities appearing that fit your exact situation with a precision that eliminates the possibility of coincidence. People who doubted you are about to witness something they cannot explain. People who wrote you off are about to reconsider everything they assumed. Not because you proved them wrong through effort, but because the God who backs you decided to make His support visible. Your life is about to become an exhibit of divine faithfulness, a walking testimony that silences every argument against the reality of heaven's involvement in human affairs. I want to take you deeper into what this harvest actually looks like. Because the Most High does not deal in abstractions. He deals in specifics. And the specifics of what is being released into your life deserve to be named so that you can recognize them when they arrive. The provision coming your way is not a temporary patch. It is not a one-time rescue that solves today's problem, but leaves you anxious about tomorrow. What is being released is a sustained flow of abundance that shifts the entire foundation of your financial reality. You are moving from a posture of survival into a posture of surplus. From calculating whether you can afford necessities into discovering that your needs are met before you finish naming them. From the exhausting cycle of crisis and relief, into a stability that feels foreign at first because you have lived without it for so long. When this provision arrives, and it will arrive soon, you will need to handle it with the wisdom that matches the blessing. Not every open door requires you to rush through it. Not every opportunity demands an immediate yes. The same God who is sending the abundance is also sending discernment about how to steward it. Listen for His voice in those moments. He will show you which doors to walk through and which ones to observe from a distance. He will teach you the difference between a divine opportunity and a distraction dressed in attractive clothing. Your body is also receiving specific instructions from the throne today. The chronic pain that has been your unwanted companion. The fatigue that resists every solution. The diagnosis that sits in the back of your mind like an uninvited guest who refuses to leave. Heaven is addressing all of it, not with a vague promise of eventual improvement, with a command that carries the same creative power that spoke the universe into existence. The God who designed your immune system is reprogramming it for restoration. The God who formed your skeletal structure is reinforcing what is weakened. The God who wired your nervous system is recalibrating what stress and grief dysregulated. This is not wishful thinking. This is the operational reality of a God who specializes in impossibilities and whose track record of restoration stretches across every generation of human history without a single failure on record. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss a message that carries heaven's authority into your life. There are words being prepared for you in the days ahead that will meet you at the exact moment you need them most. This is not random content. This is a divine appointment that continues beyond today. I also want to address something that many people overlook because it does not present itself as a prayer request. It presents itself as simply the way things are. I am talking about the weariness of your spirit, not tiredness of the body, not even exhaustion of the mind, but a deeper fatigue, a weariness that lives in the place where your hope is stored, the place where your dreams used to burn brightly before circumstance and time and repeated disappointment slowly turned them into embers. That weariness is lifting today, not gradually, not through a long process of incremental improvement. The decree carries a renewal that operates at the speed of sovereign authority. The same way darkness does not gradually retreat when a light is switched on. It simply vanishes. Your spiritual weariness is being replaced by a vitality that you have not experienced in years, perhaps decades, a freshness of purpose, a clarity of vision, an excitement about tomorrow that does not depend on knowing every detail of what tomorrow contains. Because the one who holds tomorrow has shown you enough of his character to trust him with the rest. Now, listen closely because I want to speak about your purpose. The calling that was woven into your design before you took your first breath on this earth. The enemy has invested years of effort into convincing you that your purpose is either too small to matter or too big for you to carry. Both messages are lies, and today, they lose their power over your self-perception permanently. Your purpose is not a job title or a ministry position. It is the expression of who the Most High designed you to be when He imagined you into existence. It flows from your story, from your scars, from the unique combination of pain and perspective and compassion that no other human being on this planet carries in exactly the way you do. There are people whose lives will only change through your voice, not through a more polished voice, not through a more educated voice, not through a voice that has never cracked under pressure. Through your voice, the one that carries the weight of someone who has walked through fire and emerged with enough faith left to speak about it. That authenticity cannot be manufactured. It cannot be imitated. It can only come from someone who has actually lived the message they carry. The Most High is not asking you to become someone else before you step into your calling. He is asking you to finally become fully yourself. To stop apologizing for the depth of your emotions. To stop minimizing the power of your story. To stop hiding the very qualities that make you irreplaceable in the assignment He has prepared for you. Your sensitivity is not weakness. Your intensity is not too much. Your ability to feel deeply what others merely observe from a distance. That is a gift that heaven specifically engineered into your design because the mission ahead requires exactly that capacity. Stand up in your calling today, not tomorrow, not when you feel more prepared, not when the circumstances align perfectly. Now. Because the people who need what you carry are already walking toward the intersection where your path meets theirs. And if you delay, if you shrink back, if you present the smaller version of yourself that fear has been rehearsing, you will miss encounters that were designed before the foundation of the world. I want to go even further with you now, because the decree that was read over your life today contains layers that I have not yet spoken aloud. And these deeper layers address things that you have been carrying in silence. Things you may not have even articulated in your own prayers because they felt too personal, too specific, too vulnerable to speak into the open air. Think of at least 3 people right now who have been crying behind closed doors and carrying burdens that nobody sees. People who need to hear what you just heard. Send this message to them today, in your church group, in a text message to that friend who has been struggling, in your family group chat. Do not keep this decree to yourself. When heaven speaks a word this powerful, it is meant to travel. The loneliness. I see it. Not the surface loneliness of an empty room, although you have known that kind as well. I am talking about the loneliness of being surrounded by people and still feeling unknown. The exhaustion of being seen by many and understood by none. The ache of carrying a richness inside you, a depth of thought, a complexity of feeling that the people around you do not seem equipped to reach. You have smiled through conversations that never got past the surface. You have laughed at appropriate moments while something inside you was starving for a connection that penetrates the mask and touches the actual person underneath. That season of deep loneliness is ending. The decree authorizes the arrival of divine connections. People who have been prepared through their own seasons of refinement to recognize and celebrate what the Most High placed inside you. Not people who tolerate your depth, but people who require it. Not people who make you feel like too much, but people who have been searching for exactly what you bring. These connections will not arrive through your striving or your networking or your performance. They will arrive through divine orchestration, appearing in your life at moments that feel both surprising and inevitable, as if some invisible hand had been arranging the meeting for years. And in those relationships, you will experience something you may have forgotten was possible. The freedom to be fully known. To speak the truth of your experience without editing it for someone else's comfort. To bring the broken pieces and the beautiful pieces to the same table and watch them both be received with equal honor. This is coming. It is already in motion, and it will be one of the most healing experiences of your entire life. I also want to address the dreams that you buried. The ones you stopped talking about because the gap between where you are and where they would take you seemed impossibly wide. The ambitions that once burned like furnaces in your chest, but were gradually reduced to cooling ash by the relentless pressure of survival and responsibility, and the practical demands of keeping your life operational day after day. Those dreams were not random desires. They were blueprints, planted by the Creator himself as previews of the life he intended for you. And the fact that they went quiet does not mean they died. Seeds can survive underground in complete darkness for years, preserving their life force, waiting for the conditions above the surface to become favorable for growth. Your dreams have been in that state. Dormant but alive, patient but ready. And the conditions above the surface are shifting right now because the decree has changed the atmosphere over your life. You are going to feel those dreams stirring again. Ideas that you had given up on will resurface with a freshness and clarity that surprises you. Visions that once felt impossible will suddenly feel not just possible, but urgent. And you will know the difference between a dream resurrected by nostalgia and a dream reactivated by the sovereign hand of God. Because this time it will come with provision. Resources will appear alongside the vision. People will arrive alongside the calling. Doors will open alongside the dream. What was once an isolated hope with no support structure will now be surrounded by an infrastructure of divine supply that makes the impossible path suddenly and undeniably walkable. Let me tell you what your transformation is going to look like from the outside. Because the people in your life are about to witness something they cannot explain through natural reasoning. They will notice it first in your countenance, a steadiness in your eyes that was not there before, a settled quality in your voice, a groundedness in the way you carry yourself that communicates an authority you never announced but that everyone can feel. They will see you respond differently to provocation. Where you once absorbed the blow and carried the bruise for weeks, You will now deflect it with a calm assurance that comes from knowing exactly whose you are. Criticism that would have devastated you will bounce off the armor of an identity that is no longer negotiable. Anything that contradicts the decree will be dismissed without ceremony. This is not arrogance. This is not hardness. This is the natural posture of someone who has heard the voice of the Creator speak their name with specificity and love and intention. When you know you are chosen, not by popular vote but by sovereign selection, you stop auditioning for the approval of people whose opinions were never meant to define you in the first place. The transformation will also manifest in your capacity. Things that overwhelmed you before will become manageable. Decisions that paralyzed you will become clear. Problems that seemed unsolvable will present their solutions as if they had been hiding in plain sight all along. Because the decree does not just change your circumstances, it changes your capacity to handle whatever circumstances you encounter. You are being upgraded from the inside out. Your mind is being sharpened. Your spirit is being strengthened. Your emotional resilience is being reinforced with a durability that comes not from thicker walls but from a deeper foundation. You have never been more ready for what is coming, and what is coming has never been closer. Beloved child, what you have just received is not an ordinary word. This is a decree that carries the weight of heaven's full authority behind it. And as you sit here absorbing the magnitude of what has been spoken over your life, I want you to know that the very mission that brought this message to your ears depends on hearts like yours who feel called to participate in something greater than themselves. Every seed planted into this ministry through Ko-fi, whether a simple coffee of support, a recurring donation, or a membership that connects you to this family of believers, becomes a torch that reaches into someone else's darkest moment and speaks light into their silence. A woman in Georgia recently shared that she had been sitting in her car in a parking lot, unable to move, when one of these messages began playing. She said the words met her in the exact place of her pain and pulled her back from a decision she almost could not reverse. That is what your generosity funds. Not a production, a rescue operation. If you feel stirred to support this work, visit the link in the description or the pinned comment. Your presence matters even more than your gift. Come as you are. Plant a seed in soil that heaven is already watering, and watch what grows back into your own life as a result. Now, I must continue, because there is more inside this decree that demands to be spoken before the seal closes again. And this portion concerns the protection that has been authorized over everything the Most High is releasing into your life. You see, the enemy does not stop fighting simply because heaven has issued a decree. He shifts strategies. Where he once attacked your progress, he will now attempt to attack your possession. Where he once tried to prevent the blessing from arriving, he will now try to steal it after it has landed. He will use distraction, pride, carelessness, or premature disclosure to weaken what God is building in you before it has had time to establish deep roots. This is why I must counsel you toward wisdom in this new season. Not everything the Most High is doing in your life right now needs to be announced publicly. Some blessings are meant to be cultivated in secret before they are displayed in the open. Joseph learned this lesson at great cost when he shared his dream too early with brothers who were not equipped to celebrate it. David was anointed king, and then spent years in obscurity before anyone placed a crown on his head. The pattern of the kingdom is consistent. Private preparation always precedes public manifestation. Declare these words right now. The decree has been read. The chains are broken. I walk into my harvest today. Write it in the comments and let it become an anchor for everything that is about to manifest. So guard what is forming. Protect the tender shoots of breakthrough with the same vigilance a farmer uses to protect new crops from frost and predators and premature exposure. Share with the people the Most High identifies as safe, and keep sacred silence about the rest until the roots are deep enough to withstand the weight of public scrutiny. This is not secrecy born of fear. This is stewardship born of wisdom. And it will determine how fully and how permanently the blessings take hold in your life. I am speaking now to the very core of who you are. Past the defenses, past the coping mechanisms, past the practiced responses that keep the world at a comfortable distance from your actual heart. I need to reach the place where your deepest convictions live. Because what I am about to declare over you requires a foundation that goes below the surface of momentary emotion. You are not an accident. You are not a mistake. You are not a project that went wrong and had to be repurposed. You are a masterpiece that was conceived in the mind of the Creator with the same intentionality and precision that He used to position stars in their orbits and paint the spectrum of color into every sunrise that has ever broken across a human horizon. Every characteristic you have tried to change about yourself because the world told you it was a flaw. Every emotional response you have tried to suppress because someone labeled it excessive. Every aspect of your personality that made you feel like you did not belong in the spaces you occupied. Those were not mistakes in your design. They were features. Deliberately engineered components of a masterpiece that would be incomplete without them. The depth of your compassion allows you to reach people who are drowning in shallow waters where no one else even notices them struggling. The intensity of your emotions gives your words a weight and an authenticity that polished communicators spend their entire careers trying to imitate but never quite achieve. The sensitivity that you have been told to toughen. That very sensitivity is the instrument through which the Most High channels His awareness of human suffering into practical intervention. Do not let another day pass where you apologize for being who you were created to be. The world did not give you your design. The world does not get to critique it. The one who designed you declared His work good, and His assessment is final. I want to speak now about the timing of everything I have described, because I know how your mind works. I know the part of you that listens to a word like this and immediately begins building a timeline. How long until the provision arrives? How many days until the healing manifests? When will the relationships mend? When will the purpose become visible? Here is what I want you to understand about divine timing. It does not operate on human calendars or the schedules your anxiety constructs. It operates on a precision that factors in variables you cannot see, positioning people and resources and circumstances with an accuracy that makes sophisticated human planning look like guesswork. But I will tell you this. The word today is not a metaphor. When I say that the decree has been activated today, I mean that the spiritual machinery of your breakthrough is already running. The gears are turning. The mechanisms are engaged. The process is not waiting for a future starting signal. It has begun. And the evidence of that beginning will start appearing in your physical reality sooner than your most optimistic expectation. Some of it will arrive within days. A phone call you did not expect. A conversation that shifts the trajectory of a situation you had written off. A number that appears in your account that you cannot trace to any human source. A test result that contradicts what the previous tests confirmed. These early evidences are not the full harvest. They are the first fruits. The advance indicators that the field behind them is loaded with abundance that is rapidly approaching the point of full manifestation. Do not dismiss the small beginnings. They are not small to heaven. Every first fruit is a confirmation that the decree is operational. Every unexpected kindness, every sudden opening, every moment where something works out without your effort. Those are signposts from the throne telling you to keep your eyes open and your hands ready because the flood is coming behind the trickle. Subscribe to this channel and let this be a lifeline that connects you to heaven's voice in the days and weeks ahead. What you heard today is the beginning of a conversation that the Most High intends to continue with you. There are words prepared for future messages that will meet you in the exact battles you have not yet encountered, equipping you before the challenge arrives so that you face it from a position of strength rather than surprise. I charge you today and this charge carries the full weight of heaven's mandate behind it. Step forward. Not in theory, not in theological agreement, in practical physical forward motion that puts your body where your faith has already gone. If the Most High has opened a door, walk through it. Do not stand at the threshold analyzing the risks until the door closes again. If He has placed an idea in your spirit, act on it. Do not wait for the fear to leave before you move. Move while the fear is still present and watch it dissolve in the wake of your obedience. If He has placed a person on your heart, reach out to them. Do not let awkwardness or pride or the passage of time convince you that the moment has expired. Divine appointments do not have expiration dates. The connection the Most High has prepared will be there when you arrive, because He has been preparing both sides of the encounter simultaneously. If He has given you a gift, use it. Do not bury it under excuses about inadequate training, or insufficient platform, or the wrong season. The right season is the one the Creator activates, and He is activating yours right now, today. Not after more preparation, not after more confirmation. This word is your confirmation. This decree is your authorization. There is nothing left to wait for except your willingness to move. The transformation that the Most High is accomplishing in your life right now is not cosmetic. It is structural. He is not rearranging the furniture in a condemned building. He is demolishing the condemned structure entirely and erecting something new on its foundation. The old patterns of thinking are being dismantled beam by beam. The old defensive structures that once protected you, but now imprison you, are being carefully removed so that what replaces them can breathe and grow and expand without artificial limitations. This is why some things in your life may feel like they are falling apart right now, because they are falling apart. Not because something has gone wrong, but because the architect is clearing the site for a construction project that requires the old structure to be fully removed before the new one can rise. What feels like destruction is actually demolition, a precise intentional removal of everything that cannot support the weight of what is being built. Trust the process. Trust the builder. What He constructs will not collapse under pressure. What He establishes will not be shaken by storms. What He builds will stand as a testimony to His engineering genius for the remainder of your days and far beyond, into generations that will inherit the stability of what was established in this very season. My beloved child, I am arriving now at the most important words I will speak to you today. Everything I have said until this moment has been leading to this single declaration, and I need you to receive it not just with your mind, but with the deepest chamber of your spirit where permanent things are stored. I, Archangel Michael, speaking under the direct authority of the Most High God, declare over your life this day that the season of withholding is permanently and irrevocably finished. Not paused, not postponed, finished. The drought is over. The wilderness is behind you. The waiting room door has been opened from the inside by a hand that no created force in existence has the power to resist. Everything I described today, the provision, the healing, the restored relationships, the answered prayers, the activated purpose, the resurrected dreams, the divine connections, the inner transformation. All of it is moving toward you with the momentum of a decree that has been signed by the eternal judge and stamped with a seal that nothing in heaven or on earth or beneath the earth has the jurisdiction to break. Type this in the comments right now. I am fully myself. I carry what heaven assigned to me. I will not shrink. Let those words become a stake, driven into the ground of your identity that nothing can uproot. This is not wishful language. This is not motivational sentiment. This is the judicial reality of your life as it has been established in the courts of heaven. And what heaven establishes. No devil uproots. No delay reverses. No human opinion overrides. It is done. Receive it as done. Walk as though it is done, because it is done. And the only thing standing between the decree and your experience of its fullness is the distance between this moment and the moment your eyes first see the evidence that has already departed heaven's warehouse with your name and address attached. You will look back on this season and weep. But they will be tears of gratitude so deep and so pure that they wash away the memory of every tear of pain that preceded them. You will stand in the middle of your harvest and say, with a voice that shakes with holy amazement, "My God kept his word. My God did not forget me. My God turned every loss into gain and every sorrow into testimony." And that testimony will not stay inside you. It will overflow into every life your story touches. People will hear what you walked through and what you walked into, and they will find the courage to keep believing in a God they cannot see because they can see what he did in someone who never stopped reaching for him. Type these final words. It is done. My decree is sealed. My harvest has come. Let them be the last thing your fingers write before the blessing your eyes are about to see arrives at your doorstep. Beloved, as we reach the final words of this decree, let me gather everything that was spoken and place it before you one last time. You came to this message carrying weight. You heard your own story reflected in words that reached places no human voice could naturally find. You received a decree that carries heaven's judicial authority. And now, you step forward into a season that has been prepared for you, since before time learned how to count its own days. Before you go, I want to leave you with a call to action that is equal in importance to everything you just heard. Take this message and send it to at least 5 people who are still sitting in the waiting room, who still believe the lie that heaven forgot their address. Share it on your Facebook page. Text it to that family member who has been quietly drowning. Post it in your WhatsApp group. Let this decree travel, because it was never meant to stop with one person. The blessing multiplies when it moves. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, do so now. Let this become a consistent source of heaven's voice in your daily life. Turn on the notification bell so that every message that is prepared for you reaches you without delay or obstruction. And if your heart has been stirred today to support the mission that makes these messages possible, I invite you to visit our Ko-Fi community through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether through a one-time gift of support, a monthly membership that connects you to a family of believers who pray together and encourage one another daily, or simply by sharing this message with someone who needs it. Every act of generosity plants a seed that heaven waters into someone else's miracle. Your support does not go to a channel. It goes to a divine mission of rescue and restoration. Come as you are. Plant your seed. And watch the harvest return to you multiplied beyond what you gave. Now, let us close with prayer. Bow your head, close your eyes, and let these words settle over you like a blanket woven from the mercy of the Almighty. Heavenly Father, I bring this precious child before your throne right now. The one who stayed, the one who waited, the one who obeyed when it cost them everything comfortable and familiar. You see them, you know them, and you have spoken a decree over their life that cannot be reversed by any power in existence. I ask you now, let the evidence of that decree begin appearing in their reality before this day is over. Let provision knock on doors that were sealed shut. Let healing flow into places that medicine could not reach. Let reconciliation begin in relationships that pain had frozen solid. Let purpose ignite in a spirit that exhaustion nearly extinguished. Let every tear they planted produce a harvest that is so abundant that their arms cannot contain it, and their testimony cannot be silenced. Cover them with your protection. Surround them with your angels. Walk ahead of them and clear every obstacle from the path you have prepared. And let this day, this specific day, be the day they look back on and say with absolute certainty, that is when everything changed. In the mighty and matchless name of Jesus Christ. Amen.